Okay, we're on page 472 talking about the different types of contracts. We just finished talking about the firm fixed price incentive fee one. There's another one called a firm fixed price with economic price adjustment. All right, let me give you an example on that one. We had a contract at Fort Hood for construction, and it was for paving, okay? Just a paving contract. And so the guy bid, I don't know what it was, so many, whatever the price was per square yard of paving a parking lot. Okay. He came to us and said, the price of asphalt has risen so much in the last couple of months that I can't even buy the asphalt for the price I quoted you for doing the paving job. And we went, oh, okay. So we converted the contract into an EPA, an economic price adjustment one. So he basically could go in and say, fixed price contract, but if the prices go up or down, in theory down, but no one's going to complain if the prices go down, right? But hey, in theory, that would work. And then there's another one called the point of total assumption, which basically means we can do a contract up to a certain point, and then when we get to this certain point, which we can figure out mathematically, all costs from that point on are solely yours. So I'm going to reimburse you for this cost and this cost and this cost and this cost. But when we get to here, any costs that come after, that's yours. And that's going to definitely make the guy say, whoa, we need to reduce cost. Okay, cool. So the next type, continuing on page 472, is the cost reimbursable. So basically, this is where the requirements are not well known or difficult to measure, or the data is not available in advance. For example, if I want to pay you based upon the result of a quality survey, right? Every customer who comes in to rent a canoe fills out a form, and you get paid based upon the score he puts down, okay? How the heck am I going to know what that is in advance, right? Okay, so this is one of those things where the evaluation criteria is known, but the actual amount I'm going to pay you is really not known. Okay, so both parties share some risk in this thing. So basically, the direct and indirect costs are covered, right? So the employees there and whatever equipment they're using and whatever electricity for the building and all the rest of that stuff, those costs are all covered. And what you get is this cost reimbursable. So I have a list of what's called allowable cost. This is the contract for running a rental desk, and so here are the allowable costs. Here's your labor stuff and office materials and equipment and printers. If a printer died and you had to get another printer, that would be an allowable cost of doing the business, right? But not, hey, I need to send this guy to Timbuk1 for a conference. Like, no. So allowable cost. So it covers allowable cost, and then you get a fee on top of that. So there's different types of these guys. One is called a cost plus incentive fee. So you get paid for your allowable cost, and then some sort of an incentive. And the incentive could be for cost, it could be for schedule, it could be for quality. I mentioned to you guys before that when they had the earthquake and that section of road collapsed in California on the freeway, and so they went out and bid for a contract and said, we're going to put incentives in here that for every day that you complete the project in advance of this date that we pick. So we think it's going to take 60 days to do. For every day you get it done before 60, we're going to pay you, $500,000. So they really, really put on the gas. They want this guy to have this thing finished. And so what happened is the guy finished it in like 20 days and ended up with like $12 million bonus. Woohoo! That's some nice profit. Okay, so that's that. Cost plus fixed fee. Basically, that is, I'll give you your cost, and then on top of that, I just give you a percent. Okay, now that's not good, because in this particular case, he has no incentive to keep his costs low. And in fact, he has every incentive in the world to pad his expenses as much as practical, because he's going to get paid for his allowable costs plus a percent of the total costs. Okay? All right. So that's not good. Cost plus award fee, and that's basically kind of sort of the same thing as the incentive fee, but the award fee could be kind of sort of. Award fee is typically those things that are not schedule related or cost related. The incentive fee was something that's built into the contract, a formula that says, like the bridge example. An incentive fee would be every day you get it done before this date, I'll give you this amount of money, right? It's well known up front, okay? The cost plus award fee are not known. That's the one about you're going to get paid, $10,000 for every star rating you get. If you get a 3-star rating, you're going to get, $30,000. If you get a 4-star rating, you're going to get $40,000. That where I do not know in advance, right? It can't be a formula that I put in there and say, here's how much you're going to get. And that's basically like a tip, right? You go into a restaurant, you do a good job, and so you're going to tip the wait staff, more than if they did a lousy job, right? And so the incentive for them is to do well. Okay, now I'll admit, in order for them to do well, they may be spending more money, right? For example, they may put cookies on the countertop and say, hey, while you're here waiting for your canoe to get done, have a cookie, right? And so is cookies an allowable cost? Well, if it's directly related to them operating a desk, then yeah. So your costs are going to go up a little bit. But if you were really after, high ratings, then that's what it takes, right? You're going to have to spend money to get high ratings. Okay. The next one is the cost plus percentage of cost, and that one sucks. That one's basically the same thing as the cost plus fixed fee, except instead of having the fixed fee be fixed, the fixed fee is just a percent. Okay, that is the least likely for him to control cost. That's the one where he has every incentive in the world to bill you for absolutely everything. Cost plus percentage of total cost. Whew, don't ever do that. That's dumb. Okay, so I just kind of sort of told you, but which of these has the least likely for you to end up paying the least amount? Let me start over. Which one of these is most likely that you were going to pay the most? That's a better way of describing it. Okay, so that might be a test question, right? Just paying attention. Okay. So the next one they talk about is time and materials on page 474. And I kind of mentioned like a lawyer would be a good one. You put a lawyer on retainer, and he only charges you when he's working, right? It could be an entire month. And he's not working on your case at all, so you get no bill. Okay, cool. So this is basically, I don't have a clue how much this is going to cost, and I'm not even sure what it is I want you to do. You're my lawyer, and I might have 3 different lawsuits that I'm working on, and so, which I can't tell you in advance what it is I want you to do. We just have to wait and see. So consultants do this. They charge a rate, whatever it is, $100 an hour, $200 an hour, and they can work on whatever they want, right? Okay. They just bill you. Now, there's a type of time and materials contract it's been around a while. It's basically called unit price. And unit price is, I produce basically a book, this gargantuan book of every single thing that I think I'm going to ask you to do, okay? And you are going to bid up front at the beginning of the contract how much you're going to charge me for each one of these items. It's like a Chinese menu thing, right? I have a menu of all the things I may ask you to do for me, and the unit prices are already been negotiated, okay? So when time for me to issue an order, I basically say, well, I'll take 4 of the number 18s, and then, okay, number 406, I'll take 1 of those, and you flip through, okay? So these are actually pretty decent because you pre-bid the prices, so I don't have to renegotiate like, well, that's going to cost me too much. Well, no, that's how much you bid in the contract. Now, the problem is the amount of effort it takes to put together a unit price contract. Oh, jeez, you're going to have a full-time person probably working for months just to produce that catalog, that unit price catalog. It's a hell of a lot of work. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. Is it always the best choice? Hell no. Okay. All right, so now let's compare the choices we have so far. So I'm not worried about the buyer risk. I'm going to ignore that. Let's talk about the seller. Okay, the seller meaning the person who's bidding on the contract. I know that sounds a little weird, because I wish it said offerer rather than seller, but okay. So anyway, where the bidder is going to feel the most comfortable is this cost plus percentage of cost. He has no risk whatsoever. Basically, even if he screws up, he still gets paid and he still makes a profit. Okay, that's dumb. If he does a great job or does a horrible job, he gets paid the same plus his profit. Here, he's got his cost plus a percentage. And it's kind of sort of the same as this, except this is a percentage of his allowable cost. This is a percentage of his total cost. And so they're almost the same. Cost plus a fixed amount. Here's cost plus a variable amount. In other words, so basically, I cover his cost and then I give him a tip. Okay. And then award fee, and then fixed price incentive, and then economic adjustment, and then basically firm fixed price. So here, he's got the most amount of risk. If the price of material goes up, too bad. You bid on this. So what do people do? If the price of materials or labor or something goes up, they just pad these contracts. So this is going to cost you the most. This is going to cost you, well, I'm not sure it's going to cost you that, but it's no risk to the offerer at all. Right? If I'm bidding on a cost plus percentage of cost, I know I'm going to get paid, and I know my profit's going to be covered. Here, I can't even tell you that my costs are going to get paid in firm fixed price, much less making a profit. So you see how this works? Okay. So which one is the best one? Well, most likely it's going to be somewhere in the middle. This cost plus award fee, because they now have an incentive to reduce costs. They have a disadvantage or disincentive over here, and it's like over here it scares the heck out of them. So you want something in the middle, something like a cost plus award fee. That's an excellent choice if you're contracting for these things. Okay, so continuing. Termination clause. Every contract needs to have something, and basically the termination clause is two-way. Either a party can say, yeah, I've had enough. And so there's a notice, or some sort of required notice period, 30 days or something. And so it could be not even for cause. You can just say, why are you terminating the contract? I don't have to tell you. I just feel like it. Okay. It doesn't have to be for cause. I can just say, I'm sorry, it's not working. Here's my 30 days, and that's it. Okay. On page 476, I talk about the tools and techniques to help you make some of these decisions. So the first one talks about the make or buy. And so another example of a make or buy is like buy or lease. That's kind of sort of similar, right? Do I want to buy this truck or do I want to lease the truck? And so there's an awful lot of financial calculators that are out there that can do this for you. And in the example they have in the book, it turned out that if we were going to use the vehicle for less than 30 days, then leasing was probably the better option. But, yes, you can go, in fact, you just type in lease or buy, and first of all, you'll get a bunch of car ads. But they'll give you the equations, and you basically talk, here's how many miles I expect, and here's how many this, and how many this, and here's the condition of the vehicle at the end of the lease, and they'll hit the button. It'll tell you whether or not it's economically viable for you or not. So you don't have to do that calculation on your own. The next one they talk about is what's called expert judgment. And that's kind of a nebulous term, but you know what we're talking about. So I have some sort of expert advice, maybe from inside the organization or perhaps even outside the organization. And it could be something like, how about this? Who would know more about the price of, I'm going back to the asphalt example, who would know more about the price of asphalt than a guy who does paving for a living? So he's the expert, not you. You're the one writing the contract, but you're probably going to need to talk with your offerers to find out, hey, is the price of asphalt going up? And he goes, oh, God, yes. And you go, oh, okay, I didn't know, right? Okay. Let me pause this, and we'll finish this up in just a few.